Have you ever felt like you're doing everything you can to succeed, but somehow life just keeps pushing back? You've tried all the things, studied more, worked long hours, set big goals, but the results still don't seem to match the effort. Maybe you're a bit like the young boy in today's story, full of determination, but missing one key ingredient. And that ingredient? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's patience. But not the kind of patience where you just sit around waiting for opportunities to knock. It's a quiet, steady kind of strengthened inner power that helps you keep going all the way, no matter how long the road may be. Think about it. When was the last time you rushed into something? Took a job because you were afraid of being left behind? Entered a relationship out of fear of being alone? Made a big decision too fast, and ended up paying the price in time, money, and peace of mind? We live in an age where everything is measured by speed. The internet must be fast. Success should come early. Results should happen now. But the Buddha taught something very different. The deepest things in life take time to grow. Just like a mango tree, you can't plant the seed today and expect fruit tomorrow. You have to water it, tend to it, wait for the right season. In this video, I'll share with you a very simple story, one that just might change the way you think about success. A story involving a king, an old woman cooking rice, and a powerful lesson in mindfulness, hidden inside a bowl of hot rice. So slow down and really listen, because maybe what you've been looking for isn't about doing things faster, but about learning when to pause. 1. Patience, the quiet seed of success. There's something strange about modern life. We often admire other people's success, the ones who've built thriving careers, beautiful families, stable health, and solid finances, but we rarely see the long, silent road they had to walk to get there. We don't see the months or even years they spent patiently waiting, working hard without knowing when or if results would come. And because of that, many people today feel confused or discouraged. They say things like, "I've tried everything. Why isn't anything changing? Maybe I'm just not good enough." Or worse, "What if I've chosen the wrong path?" But sometimes, the issue isn't the path. It's not your ability or your effort. It's something smaller yet deeply important: patience. You see, if you plant a mango tree, you can't expect to eat the fruit tomorrow. You know it needs to grow roots first. It needs water, sunlight, rain. It needs seasons to change leaves, to fall, soil to rest before it can blossom and bear fruit. And our lives are not so different. Real success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of hundreds, even thousands of ordinary days repeated with quiet consistency and a steady belief. I'm on the right track. In Buddhist teachings, there's a beautiful image. A spiritual seed, once planted in the heart, will grow little by little if it's nourished with faith, diligence, and mindfulness. Sometimes, nothing seems to change on the surface. But deep down, under the soil, roots are growing. Stronger, deeper, day by day. The problem is, most people only look at what's above the ground. If they don't see visible growth, they assume, maybe this seed is dead. So they give up just before the sprout breaks through. But the truth is, success doesn't always belong to the smartest or most talented. It belongs to the ones who don't give up too soon. There's a story about a student who once asked the Buddha, "Master, I've been practicing, keeping precepts, meditating, but why hasn't my mind become calm? Am I doing something wrong?" And the Buddha answered with a simple example. If you heat water, but keep turning the flame on and off, will it ever boil? The student fell silent. The Buddha added, transformation is like boiling water. Keep the fire going. Even if it's slow in one day, it will boil. Sometimes, we abandon the very thing that's quietly working on us just because we don't see instant results. Today's world praises speed, quick success, fast answers, immediate outcomes. But the human soul doesn't work like a machine. Spiritual growth, emotional maturity, deep trust. Those are things that bloom slowly, like a flower opening in the night. No one hears the petals unfold. No one sees it happen instantly. But it's still happening, moment by moment. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall over and over, maybe 100 times. But no one ever says, maybe walking isn't for them. Why? Because we understand. Walking is natural. It just takes time and patience. So why is it, when we grow up, we stop giving ourselves that grace? Maybe you're learning something important right now, but trying to rush through it. Maybe you're building something solid, but because you don't see fast results, you're starting to doubt it. Maybe you've planted a mango seed, but expecting to harvest watermelon. Without understanding the nature of the process, it's easy to fall into discouragement, frustration, even shame. But if you truly grasp that patience is essential in any deep journey, then you'll stop feeling like you're being left behind and realize you're growing in your own rhythm. In my years of working with Buddhist students, especially those in their 30s, 40s, 50s, I've heard countless stories of hard seasons. Some were unemployed for 2 years. Some went bankrupt. Some stayed in a difficult marriage for decades. And yet, looking back, many of them say, those lost years, that was when I learned patience, built resilience, and started trusting in karma. They thought they had failed. But really, they were just planting seeds. And seeds take time to sprout. So, if you're tired today because your results aren't showing, if you're asking, why am I trying so hard but nothing's happening? Remember the mango tree. The absence of fruit doesn't mean the tree isn't alive. It may just be growing quietly, from the inside out. And that right there is where patience becomes a healing force. Not passive waiting, but a deep, unshakable belief that I'm on the right path. I just need to keep going. When you feel like others are moving faster than you, please remember this. Every person has their own blooming season. Lotus flowers don't bloom in winter. Cherry blossoms don't open in summer. And you? You are no different. No one is ever late on the path that was made just for them. 2. Rushing to plant, reaping regret. A deeper lesson on cause and effect. There's something we all eventually learn as we grow older. That every action we take leaves a mark. Whether it's a passing glance, a word said in anger, or a decision made in a moment of impulse. Every single one of those plants a seed in this life. And the thing is, those seeds don't just disappear. They stay in your mind, your circumstances, your future. And one day, when the right conditions arise, they sprout. They become results. That's the foundation of the Buddhist teaching on cause and effector karma. A lot of people ask, why is it that I try to do good but my life still isn't improving? Or, I've worked so hard, why am I still facing difficulties? The answer isn't simple, but it's also not mysterious. In Buddhism, nothing just randomly happens. Whatever shows up, whether it's joy or suffering, is the fruit of seeds we planted before. But here's the thing. It's not that we didn't plant anything. It's that we planted in a rush. We planted carelessly. We planted from a place of fear or restlessness. There's an old story about a farmer. One day he planted rice in his field. The next day, He came back eager to see growth, but the seedlings hadn't broken through yet. He felt disappointed. The following day, impatient, he went back and pulled the tiny seedlings upward with his hands, hoping they'd grow faster. And what happened? Within a few days, every single plant died. He did plant, but he lacked patience. He wasn't mindful. He didn't understand the process. So even though his seed was right, the outcome was still a total loss. That story might sound old, even simple. But honestly, it mirrors exactly how so many of us live today. We start a relationship not out of love, but out of fear of being alone. We invest in something not out of insight, but because we want to get rich quick. We pursue a career path not because it speaks to us, but because someone else seems to be winning at it. We plant, but we don't pause. We act, but not from wisdom. And what follows? Often, it's disappointment. Sometimes, heartbreak. The Buddha said, "Beings create karma, and then they experience the fruit of that karma. No one else can do it for them." That's not a threat. That's a compassionate reminder. If we truly understand karma, we'd live a little slower, choose a little more carefully, and most important, react with mindfulness, instead of letting emotions run the show. One Buddhist student once shared his story. When he was younger, his boss criticized him in front of the whole team. He got so angry, he quit that very same day. No backup plan, no time to reflect, just raw hurt and the urge to escape. It took him months to find another job. His finances suffered. His family felt the stress. His confidence collapsed. Looking back, he said, "If I had just waited one day, just one day, maybe things would have been different." That's the cost of planting a seed in haste. Over the years of guiding meditation and sharing the Dharma with adults in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, there's something that becomes clear. When we're young, we tend to plant seeds out of impulse. And when we finally understand what's going on, it takes a long time to heal the consequences of the past. But that's okay. The Dharma never closes its door. Even if today you're tasting the bitterness of an old seed, you can still pause, look inward, and begin planting something new. You're not required to change your entire life overnight. But every single day, you do have the power to change direction. And that new direction? It begins with a heart that knows how to stop, look deeply, and choose its seeds wisely. Never underestimate the power of small seeds. One kind word to someone having a bad day might be the only light they carry with them that week. One clear-headed choice made in a moment of fear might save you from years of regret. One pause before reacting might protect a relationship that means everything to you. These moments seem small, but they're seeds. And if you plant them with mindfulness, they will bear fruit, maybe not tomorrow, but surely in time. So if today you're standing at a crossroads, if a relationship is cracking, if a big life decision is keeping you awake at night, breathe, slow down, and ask yourself, where is this action coming from, peace or fear? That one question might be the difference between planting pain and planting peace. 3. A bowl of rice, a lifelong lesson. Some of life's most powerful lessons don't come from books, don't come from schools. They come from the most ordinary moments. A warm bowl of rice, a stranger's kindness, or getting lost in the woods. And today's story is one of those lessons. Long ago, there was a young king. He was smart, ambitious, full of vision, but also impulsive and intense. During a trip to inspect the borders of his kingdom, the royal group got separated while passing through a vast forest. Night was falling. The thick trees made it hard to see. and the young king alone now wandered, unsure where to go. Then, in the distance, he spotted a faint light. Like a small candle in the dark, it felt like hope. He followed the narrow path and soon came to a humble little hut where an old woman was sitting by the fire, cooking. She didn't recognize him as the king. And strangely, he didn't tell her. In the cold forest, the warmth of the fire and the smell of fresh rice calmed him. The old woman invited him in, poured him warm tea, and set down a simple meal. A plate of hot rice, boiled vegetables, and sesame salt. He was starving, too hungry to wait. As soon as the steaming rice appeared, he grabbed a big handful and brought it to his mouth. Ouch! It burned his hand. The rice scattered. Some fell to the ground. The old woman watched him, then smiled gently. "You remind me of our king," she said. He paused, surprised. "What makes you say that?" She chuckled. "You're just as impatient as he is. So eager that your rice spilled before you could eat. So quick that your hand got burned before it reached your mouth." Her words were simple, but to the young king, they cut deep like a blade, slicing through pride. He said nothing. The woman continued, her voice soft and steady like she'd been thinking about this for a long time. "Our king, whom we all respect, makes decisions too quickly. He dreams of conquering big cities, defeating powerful enemies, but he forgets the small things. He forgets that before you win a big war, you have to win the small battles. Before you reach the mountaintop, you need to take steady steps." Then she pointed at the plate of rice. "If you'd started with the cooler rice around the edge and slowly moved inward, you could have enjoyed the meal, kept the rice intact, and not burned your hand." The forest went quiet. The king sat still. Only the soft crackling of fire remained, and a lesson sinking deeply into his heart. No title, no crown, just a simple woman who had lived long enough to understand. Rushing doesn't just lead to failure. It can also lead to self-harm. This story, so simple, is a perfect metaphor for how many of us live today. Over the years, I've heard countless stories from Buddhists. I've guided people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, full of regret. Some quit something meaningful too soon because results were slow. Some rushed into marriages without listening to their gut. Some gave up on themselves because they couldn't handle a few months of waiting. We live in an age of instant everything. Instant coffee, instant noodles, breaking news in seconds. Everything says, now, faster, hurry. And then we bring that same mindset into the things that shouldn't be rushed. Love, learning, success, even our spiritual path. But the deepest things in life take time to settle in. Just like that bowl of rice, you have to let it cool a little before you eat. If you rush in, you either spill the good stuff or burn yourself. The Buddha once said, "The hasty person ties themselves to suffering. The one who knows how to stop and wait is already walking the path of awakening." Slowing down isn't weakness. Slowing down is clarity. Slowing down is wisdom. One wrong step isn't as dangerous as one wrong decision. And most wrong decisions come from a few moments of impatience. So if today you find yourself desperate for answers, craving a breakthrough, feeling restless for something to change, remember the rice. Ask yourself, am I starting with the cooler rice or rushing into the middle of the hot plate? Sometimes all you need is a little more patience, one more breath, one pause. And in that pause, you might just protect the most precious parts of your life. And that is how an unknown old woman in the forest taught a king and maybe all of us A lesson worth remembering for a lifetime. 4. Are you chasing success or running away from yourself? If you look closely at the young boy in this story, the one who came to the monk, asking for the path to success, you might see something familiar. You might see yourself, a young person, full of dreams, passion, and exhaustion. Someone who's tried so many things, studied hard, worked long hours, set big goals, and yet still feels like they're stuck in place. Someone searching for the right path, but the more they run, the farther away it all seems. In today's world, success is measured by speed. By what age should you own a house? How fast should you get promoted? How many ideas should you create? How many people should you network with? How strong should your personal brand be? We're pulled into this never-ending race. And sometimes, we don't even know what we're racing for. The boy in the story, when he approached the monk, didn't ask about happiness, didn't ask about peace, didn't ask, "Who am I?" or "What do I truly need?" He only asked, "What should I do to succeed?" And maybe that's the same question many of us carry deep in our hearts. It's not wrong, it's not bad, but it's missing something important. Before we know where we want to go, we need to know where we're standing. The monk saw that. Without saying much, he recognized the unrest in the boy's eyes. Not because the boy wasn't smart or capable, but because he'd never paused long enough to really listen to himself. So many people out there are chasing success, but in truth, they're running away. Running from the fear of failure. Running from the feeling of being unworthy. Running from an emptiness inside that no achievement can fill. A meditation teacher once said, "Running faster won't get you there sooner if you're heading in the wrong direction." You can stay up late working. Plan your day down to the minute. Take 10 self-development courses. But if you don't understand what's driving you, then all that effort becomes pressure, not purpose. I remember one man in our meditation class for busy professionals. He was the CEO of a tech company, 200 employees, big salary, beautiful house. But every morning, he woke up feeling empty. He said, "I have everything people call success, but I don't know what I'm living for. I just keep moving forward. I reach one milestone, then set the next. No rest, no breath, no feeling." That man was the boy in the story, only older, with a title, but his soul was still running. Running to be seen. Running to feel enough. Running to cover up an old question left unanswered since childhood. Am I good enough? What the boy in the story needed wasn't another skill, wasn't a business strategy, wasn't a checklist of goals. What he needed was to stop. Only by stopping can you hear the voice inside. Only by stopping can you tell if you're walking your own path or just following the crowd. Only by stopping can you meet the real you beneath all the roles you've been told to play. The Buddha said, "You are your own refuge. No one else can save you. No teacher, no book, no workshop can replace that deep moment of looking inward. You can go far, but if you never pause to return to yourself, every step just leads you further away." Many people come to meditation centers and say, "I want to find the answer to my life." But after a few days of silence, they often realize the answer was always here. I just wasn't still enough to hear it. Just like the boy in the story. He thought the answer was outside, some shortcut someone could hand him. But the monk didn't offer a shortcut. He offered a story, a moment of quiet, a mirror for the boy to look deeper into himself. So if today You feel tired, confused, or stuck. Maybe you don't need to run harder. Maybe what you need is to sit down, take a slow breath, and ask, what am I really chasing in this race? What's making me hurry? If I didn't have to prove anything to anyone, what would I choose for my life? Those questions might seem simple, but they can open the door to a whole new journey. A journey not outward, but inward. Not chasing the answer, but reconnecting with the one who's asking. And that is why the monk didn't rush to teach the boy how to succeed. He gently led him into a story. Because some lessons don't need to be explained directly. They just need to be opened so the listener can see, and from there, find their own way. 5. The cost of rushing in a world that's lost its patience. There's something strange about modern life. When everything moves too fast, we start to believe that everything in life is supposed to happen fast, too. Get a job fast, fall in love fast, look good fast, get rich fast, even get enlightened fast. But maybe that's why so many people today feel exhausted. Think about someone who's tired of their job, not because it's a bad job, but because they've lost the excitement they once had. So they switch jobs. They start fresh. They feel motivated at first, but within months, the fatigue returns, and the cycle begins again. They think they haven't found the perfect job. But sometimes, what they're lacking isn't the right job. It's the ability to stay rooted. I once heard an older Buddhist student share this. When I was young, I switched jobs 10 times in 8 years. Every time, I thought the next job would make me happier. But eventually I realized I was carrying an unsettled mind everywhere I went. In Buddhism, that's called a mind that doesn't dwell peacefully, a mind that keeps jumping, never staying still long enough to grow. A seed that's pulled up again and again to check if it's sprouting will never grow roots. And what about love? In the age of social media, people can meet, match, and date with just a few swipes. But that's also why love has become fast, and so have breakups. We fall in love because it feels right in the moment, because the emotions are high for a few days, because we don't want to be lonely anymore. But the moment challenges arise, as they always do in any real relationship, we walk away. Not because the other person is terrible, but because the foundation was never built strong. In the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha spoke about something called the foundations of wholesome living. That means, if you want something to last in this life, it has to be built on solid ground. Understanding, patience, compassion, and moral integrity. Without a foundation, no house can stand, no love can feel safe, and no peace can last. Even in the world of health, which is so easily consumed by impatience, people are paying a price for rushing. Someone wants to lose weight fast, so they starve their body. Someone wants to look younger now, so they overdo cosmetic procedures. Someone wants to heal instantly, so they misuse medication. And what's the result? Exhausted bodies, unstable minds, and above all, a growing disconnection from themselves. One day in a meditation class, a student asked me, "Teacher, is there a way I can reach enlightenment quickly?" It was a sincere question, but it came from that same restless place. Spiritual practice isn't a race. It's a return. No one gets home by sprinting. You get home by walking, step by step, fully present. And the real danger isn't just rushing the practice. It's craving spiritual power without moral grounding. Today, many people turn to meditation, to numerology, to energy healing, to sacred symbols. But they treat these tools like a quick fix instead of turning inward and working with their own heart. They pray for peace without letting go of their ambition. They ask for clarity while still feeding their anger. They want life to change, but won't exchange even a little ego, or impatience, or resentment. In Buddhism, there's one simple truth. No path leads to enlightenment unless it's built on virtue, stillness, and wisdom. Virtue means ethics. Stillness means a calm, steady mind. Wisdom means insight into the nature of reality. If we skip that foundation and chase instant spiritual results, it's like building a castle on sand. So what's really needed in this fast-paced world? A mindful pause. A moment to stop and ask, what am I doing? And why am I doing it? A moment to look inward and ask, am I truly living or just reacting all the time? A bit of courage to not chase every trend, every shortcut that promises to change your life in 3 easy steps. Because without awareness, rushing through life doesn't just lead to failure, it leads to losing yourself. So if you're standing at a career crossroads, if you're wondering whether to end a relationship, if you feel the urge to change everything fast, just to feel better, pause. No one is rushing you. No one is timing you. No one else gets to judge your path, except you. And like the old monk told the young boy in the story, success, if you want it to last, needs to be nurtured with patience. Happiness, if you want it to be deep, needs to be built with mindfulness. Spiritual growth, if you want it to be real, must be rooted in ethics. 6. Inner strength, the foundation of meaningful success. If you ask most people what they want most in life, the answer is usually the same: success. Success in career, success in love, success in becoming the best version of themselves. But very few people pause to ask a deeper question. What is success, really? Is it about the outcome, what we achieve to prove ourselves to others? Or is it about the quiet growth within, even when no one else sees it? The real answer lies in the things no one can see. It's how you deal with failure. It's how you respond when life doesn't go your way. It's how you keep moving forward even when no one is cheering you on. And all of that only comes when your character has been shaped deeply. In Buddhism, there's something interesting. When the Buddha talked about attainment, he didn't use words like victory or big wins. He talked about inner qualities: patience, mindfulness, compassion, wisdom, stillness. Not the flashy stuff on the outside, but the quiet strength on the inside. Someone with true inner power isn't the loudest in the room, or the one making the biggest moves. It's the one who knows how to wait, who understands that not everything good comes on their timeline, but the right things come at the right time. There was once a young man who turned down a high-paying job offer simply because it didn't feel like the right time. His friends called him foolish. His family got worried. Even he doubted himself at times. But what helped him stay grounded wasn't certainty about the future. It was his calmness. He had enough stillness to truly listen to himself. And months later, he was offered the same position, but in an environment that matched his values. He didn't just earn more money. He gained peace and balance, too. That wasn't random success. That was the fruit of deep inner work. In a world where everyone's rushing, the person who knows how to go slow actually has the advantage. Because they're not just doing work. They're doing inner work. The patient person, the calm person, they don't get swept away by temporary emotions. They don't make decisions from pressure. And they don't quit just because results aren't instant. A student once asked a Zen master, "Master, I want to be successful. What should I train first?" And the teacher said, "Train yourself in waiting." Not waiting passively, but waiting with presence. Waiting while still doing the work. Waiting without losing faith. Waiting while staying kind, steady, and humble. Look at nature. A deep river doesn't make noise. An ancient tree doesn't grow in one season. And the sun never rises in a rush. In Buddhism, there's a beautiful image of someone polishing a stone. They polish it day after day. At first, no one sees any result. But one day, that stone shines like a mirror. People call it a miracle. But the truth is, it's just the result of quiet, persistent effort. Someone with real inner strength knows nothing deep ever comes from rushing, and nothing lasting comes without effort. They may not shine right away, but when the lights outside go out, they become the light within. Maybe what keeps us steady in this chaotic world isn't status, isn't wealth, isn't degrees. It's the ability to stand strong when all of that fades away. And that kind of strength, no one can give it to you. You have to build it yourself, day by day, in silence, when no one's watching, when everyone's asleep and you're still sitting quietly with yourself. So if you don't see results yet, don't doubt your path too soon. Instead, ask, how have I been training myself along the way? What have I learned beyond just the outcome? Because the way you shape your heart and mind, that is the true foundation of any success. And that's what the monk told the young boy in our story. Train yourself. Don't just chase a path. Because when you're steady inside, every path becomes the right one. 7. Learning to start from the edge of the plate, the gentle art of walking the path. Some of life's biggest lessons come wrapped in the smallest things. You don't always need big philosophical words. Sometimes a simple look or an ordinary action can carry a wisdom that lasts a lifetime. Just like in the story we shared earlier, when the tired and hungry king rushed to grab the hot rice in the middle of the plate. He burned his hand, the food spilled. And the old lady? She just smiled gently and said, "You're just like our king didn't know how to start eating from the edge." It was a simple sentence. But if you pause, really pause, there's a profound teaching hidden inside it. Especially for those walking a spiritual path, or honestly just living life. In Buddhism, no one starts with enlightenment. People begin with very small things. So small, they're often overlooked. Like learning to be mindful while washing dishes, learning to listen without interrupting, bowing to your elders with genuine respect, speaking kindly even when tired. These are the edges of the plate in spiritual life. If we start from there, our journey within won't burn us, and we won't lose ourselves in the process. Many people come to the path with noble aspirations. They want to awaken. They want to understand truth. They want to live deeply. And that's beautiful. But without guidance, they often make the same mistake. They skip the edge and dive right into the center. They read complex texts. They meditate for hours. They debate about non-self, dependent origination, ultimate reality. But in daily life, they still snap when someone disagrees. They struggle to take criticism. They hold on tightly to resentment and past wounds. They haven't tasted the cool rice yet, but are trying to handle the hottest part with a mind that's not quite ready. I remember a young woman once shared during a meditation retreat. She was frustrated. Even after meditating every morning, eating plant-based, and reciting sutras, she still felt angry, impatient, and misunderstood. The teacher simply asked, "Have you practiced mindfulness while folding your blanket each morning? Have you said thank you to the person who cooked your meal? Do you truly listen when your mother speaks, or just wait to reply? She went silent. And in that silence, something clicked. She realized she had been skipping the basics. The hardest battle is always the one within. And it doesn't happen in grand moments. It happens in the smallest choices. The choice between reacting or responding calmly. The choice between holding on to pride or letting it go. The choice between showing off or staying humble. Every time you pause and choose what's right over what's easy, you've taken a spoonful from the edge of the plate. It may not look dramatic, but it's what protects you from burning out on the path. The Buddhist said, "One who conquers themselves is greater than one who conquers 1,000 in battle." And that inner mastery, it's not about suppression. It's about recognizing clearly and choosing wisely. Just like someone who eats slowly from the edges. Not only do they enjoy the meal, they preserve it. Real strength doesn't come from loud achievements. It comes from quiet discipline. The kind you practice when no one sees and no one applauds. So if today you feel a longing for something great, pause. Ask yourself, have I started at the edge of the plate? Am I taking care of the smallest things well? Have I won the silent battles inside me? Because without that foundation, every grand goal is just a dream without roots. But when you start with the small, with mindful living, with gratitude, with patience, then one day, very naturally, you'll be able to reach the center of the plate without fear of getting burned. And that's why the old woman only said one line, yet left the king speechless. She didn't preach. She just served rice and stayed silent. But in that silence was a whole universe of wisdom. 8. Patience isn't waiting. It's walking with trust. When most people hear the word patience, they often think it means just sitting around, waiting for something to happen, waiting for a chance, waiting for recognition, waiting for results to show up. But real patience, especially through the lens of Buddhist teachings, has nothing to do with being passive. It's not like sitting at a train station clueless about where you're even going. No, patience is quiet movement on the inside. It's steady effort without rushing. It's unwavering trust in cause and effect, even when you can't yet see the fruits. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha once said, "The one who has patience has strength, and the wise person waits for the right time." He didn't say, "Just sit there, and everything will work out." What he taught was this: sow the seeds daily mindfully, steadily, without being shaken, and the fruit will ripen when it's ready. There's a little story I often share with older students in my meditation classes. There was once a farmer who walked more than 2 kilometers every single day to water a tiny sapling on a piece of land far from his home. Rain or shine, he kept walking, kept watering. Neighbors would ask, "Why keep watering that little tree? It hasn't grown. Why not plant something faster?" He would just smile and say, "I'm not just watering a tree, I'm watering my faith." And sure enough, 4 years later, that little sapling had become the biggest shade tree in the area. Kids gathered under it to study. Travelers rested in its cool shadow. Someone asked him, "How did you know it would grow so big?" And he replied, "I didn't know for sure. I just believed and kept showing up every day." That right, there is the essence of patience. You don't need certainty. You just need to keep going. Not in a desperate way like waiting for a miracle, but in a grounded way, living, doing, walking forward with quiet strength. And in spiritual practice, it's the same. No one becomes enlightened overnight. Even the Buddha himself went through countless lifetimes practicing generosity, morality, meditation, and what he attained didn't come from sitting and waiting. It came from walking consistently, humbly, wisely. Sometimes I hear students say, "I've been meditating for months, but I don't see progress." But when I ask, "Are you less reactive now? Do you pause before saying something hurtful? Do you listen more deeply to your parents, your partner, your children?" They begin to realize progress is happening. Just not loudly, not instantly. And that's why it's lasting. You see, in this modern world, we confuse efficiency with real growth. Efficiency is measurable. But true transformation, it happens quietly inside. Someone can build a house in 3 months. But building a home within yourself, a place where your heart can rest, where peace doesn't get shaken by life's chaos, that takes years of cultivation, reflection, and care. And no one can do that without patience. A patient person isn't someone who never doubts. They doubt, they get tired, but they don't quit just because the light hasn't appeared yet. They know that wisdom doesn't come from knowing a lot. It comes from living deeply, from slowing down, from being fully present in each little action. They understand that success isn't tied to a specific date. It's woven into how you live each day. So if you find yourself waiting right now for a breakthrough, for a result, for someone to come into your life, for a sign from the universe, ask yourself, am I living fully while I wait? Am I planting the right seeds in the right way, with the right heart? Am I moving forward or just standing still hoping someone else will arrive? Because patience is not about how long you wait. It's about how you wait. It's choosing not to give up, even when the path looks unclear. It's taking another step, even when no one's cheering you on. It's staying steady, even when you don't see results yet. That's the kind of patience that matures the heart. That ripens wisdom. And when you cultivate that, you're no longer just waiting. You're walking with trust. And eventually, something beautiful will grow quietly, but surely, right where you are. 9. The lotus blooms in its own season, and the truth about the illusion of time. There's something we tend to forget the older we get. Life has seasons. A season to sow, a season to sprout, a season to grow, and a season to bloom. But in today's fast-paced world driven by technology, deadlines, and social pressure, we start believing in something that simply isn't true. To succeed, you must be fast. To change, you must act now. To be happy, it has to happen immediately. And so, we start running. Running from one dream to the next, from one course to another, from one relationship to someone new, hoping it'll feel better, from one job to another, hoping this time it'll be the right fit. But in all that rushing, we don't even realize we're trapped in the illusion of time. We believe the faster, the better. The earlier, the more impressive. The younger you succeed, the prouder you should be. But here's the truth. In nature, no flower blooms before its season. And if you try to force it, it doesn't bloom. It withers. The Buddha once said, "You cannot ripen fruit faster by pulling it off the branch. Only time and the right nurturing can bring sweet fruit." It sounds simple, but that teaching touches something deep. It's not about being fast. It's about being right on time. And to arrive at right timing, you need 2 things, patience and trust. I remember a man who came to the monastery once, completely overwhelmed. He was a successful businessman in his early 30s. He had everything people dream of: beautiful house, luxury car, financial security. But every morning, he woke up feeling empty. He told me, I did everything as fast as I could. I never rested. I didn't allow myself to slow down. I won the race against time. But now, I don't even know where I'm going." The monk simply poured him a hot cup of tea. And when the man was about to drink, the monk softly said, "Wait, it's hot. If you rush, you'll burn yourself." Such a simple line. But it hit him right in the heart. Because that's exactly what he had done with his entire life. He drank it all too fast. And now, his soul was burnt. People who rush are not weak. They're not wrong. They're just too convinced that time is against them. They believe that if they're not there yet, if they haven't made it early enough, then they've failed. But in the Buddha's teachings, time is not your enemy. Time is your companion. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't shame you. It doesn't abandon you when you fall behind. If you keep walking steadily, it walks with you all the way, just like a lotus flower. No one sees it growing day by day. But one quiet morning, when the sun is just right, when the water is clear and the pond is still, it blooms, petal by petal, slowly, gracefully, and its beauty's unmatched. But if a lotus blooms too soon or is forced to open, it's no longer a lotus. It's just a shadow of what it could have been. No fragrance, no color, no soul. And isn't that true for us too? Some people need 5 years to find themselves. Some need 10 to heal. Some need a lifetime just to understand peace. And that's okay, because each of us blooms in our own season. No one is late on their path as long as they're still walking. So, if today you feel slow, behind, or like the world's leaving you behind, take a deep breath, pause, and ask yourself, am I really late, or am I just on my way to my season? Are others really ahead, or just on a different path that isn't mine? Don't let Anya, even yourself, convince you that you have to bloom on someone else's timeline. Because when the time is right, even if no one's watching, you will bloom in your own way, in your own light. And that's what the old monk was trying to teach the young boy in our very first story. Rushing isn't always better. Blooming early isn't always beautiful. True success is blooming when your inner sun, your inner waters, and your inner roots are strong enough to hold you steady even when the wind blows. And maybe after all the stories we've shared, the warm bowl of rice, the mango tree that took years, the lotus waiting patiently for its season, we've come to see something clearly. Patience is not passive waiting. It's living each day fully, showing up consistently with a heart full of quiet trust. True success isn't just about the outcome. It's in the way you shape your mind, the way you stay grounded through life's changes, and the way you take each step with gratitude, without rushing. The one who starts at the edge of the plate knows the value of small beginnings. The one who understands there's no shortcut to joyously the deep path walked by those with calm hearts, steady trust, and gentle endurance. And if you're in the middle of a journey now, and the fruit hasn't come yet, please don't lose heart. You might be in the most important season of all, the season of growing your roots. Because the lotus never blooms out of season, and people only truly bloom when the heart is ripe and the soul is still enough to receive the light. Thank you for walking with us on this journey. If something in this message touched your heart, please consider subscribing to Buddhism Seeds. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a moment of peace, and drop us a comment. We'd love to hear the voice of your heart. See you in the next video. And may you keep walking one steady step at a time on your path.